Two Geeks, Two Beers podcast. Nerdy obsessions, drunken ramblings with Morgan Jeffrey and Tom Eames.
Watch for all new adventures on Fraggle Rock starting in January on HBO.
You hear that, Sprocket? Radio's going on about Fraggles again, but I don't believe a word of it. I've never seen a Fraggle, have you?
Well, dance your cares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down in Two Geeks, Two Beers. Doesn't really fit, but anyway. Hello, fellow geeks. Welcome to another nostalgic trip down memory lane as we tackle a favourite from yesteryear in Two Geeks, Two Beers with me, Tom, and Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
So, on to this episode, and we're finally fulfilling a wish to a long-time listener. So, I assume he's a listener.
It would be so weird if he wasn't.
For the past couple of years, we've received a number of Facebook messages.
I would go so far as to say dozens.
From Michael Morris, who always makes us giggle when we get the simple, sort of accidentally aggressive message. I don't think he means it to be, saying simply along the lines of, do Fraggle Rock. You do Fraggle Rock every single time.
He's got a few other requests pending.
He-Man was another one, I think.
Do He-Man.
Do He-Man.
Do the Muppet Show. But, Michael, we're finally getting around to it. We're going to, as you requested, do Fraggle Rock.
It's not Do've Got Mail. That's still in the works. There's serendipity.
There's weirdly like a little bit of buzz online. I mean, it's a very low level buzz. Like if you're of a certain age, you probably can't.
A hum.
Yeah, you probably can't hear it. But that people are starting to demand that we do a You've Got Mail episode and a serendipity episode. I say
coming this Christmas.
I think it's literally one guy on Facebook. But I really appreciate.
That counts.
I really appreciate this one man campaign that you're leading.
So to be honest, Michael, Fraggle Rock passed me by as a kid. Just totally passed me by. But I have always obviously loved Jim Henson and anything Muppet related.
Can I just say before you go any further?
Yeah.
I know nothing about Fraggle
really?
Rock. The only thing I know about it is that it's Jim Henson adjacent.
Yeah.
That's as far as my knowledge extends.
Well, I think it's because it's obviously mid-80s. Before our time, technically. But I don't think it got many repeats when we were kids. I don't think it got the love that other shows of the 80s got repeated. So I think we kind of missed it.
Did it have a legacy?
It clearly didn't have a legacy. But I've researched it. I've really enjoyed revisiting it.
Or just visiting it.
Just visiting it for the first time. And so here we are. We're going to give it the Two Geeks treatment. Whether that's a good thing or not, we'll wait and see.
You know, ordinarily when we're like, we loved this when we were kids and we haven't gone back and watched it.
Yeah.
We just sort of browsed the Wikipedia page and to re-immerse ourselves in the world. This time we're just like, we don't even have memories of it. So this is going to be even more poorly researched and presented than usual.
So apologies for that in advance, but I have watched as much of it as I could. Mostly clips, let's be honest.
Look,
but
I watched some YouTube clips.
Yeah.
What level of dedication are you actually demanding here?
But it definitely deserves a Two Geeks episode. It proper geek fodder.
Fair.
So coming up, a Scottish film hero makes his TV debut, a surprisingly sad goodbye, and a theme tune so catchy it was a chart hit.
Wow.
Yeah. So beers.
I have to say as well, on the day we're recording this, the UK is experiencing a heat wave.
Oh God!
So I'm very happy to be one in an air-conditioned studio.
Yeah.
And two to have a beer.
Yeah.
We had pre-beers as we normally do before recording, and it's probably the fastest I've ever drunk a pint.
It's not the best link in the world. I got it purely on
I feel like we can take that as given. Every time we have a beer, it's not the best link in the world.
You know, sometimes we do it on the name, and sometimes we do it on the artwork.
Yeah. Well, and last time I just did it on a bit of text on the back of the
yeah. This is more artwork based. So,
right.
I mean, you know nothing about Fraggle Rock, so this won't mean anything.
You could just totally bullshit this.
Yeah. So if you love your Fraggle Rock, you'll know that there's obviously the Doozers in Fraggle Rock. Obviously. They're these little fellas who like building things and making stuff. And so I found a beer called Art Department, which is a hazy IPA. And if you look at the cover there.
Yeah, the cover.
It's not
the artwork on the can.
They're little mice or rats by the looks of it, but they're all building stuff.
Nice.
They're little fellas all building things, and
it's got a thematic.
All arty.
Yeah.
And some Unity Brewing Co. We're not sponsored. We never have been sponsored, but I thought I'd give them a shout out. So there you go.
What is a hazy IPA?
Just gets you drunk.
Yeah, makes you vision hazy.
So, cheers.
Cheers.
So,
it's an IPA.
It's very nice. So I was going to say your memories, but you've already said you've got no memories. Do you remember it being on telly at all? Do you remember any recollection of that?
No. I don't think so. My knowledge of it is entirely based on people talking about it after the fact. Yeah. And people saying when they talk about Jim Henson, Jim Henson, The Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock. But I might have seen some images of the puppets. Yeah. But other than that, I got nothing. Throw my hands up here.
Yeah. So as I said before, aired before I was born, but that doesn't mean anything. There's lots of things that aired before. I hate people that do that.
It's one of my absolute. Yeah. I said the other day, this is one of my my pet peeves, and my wife said, "You've got a lot of pet peeves." So, just one of many. But when people say, "Oh, I don't know, it's before my time," what does that even mean?
I know.
It's like someone goes up to you and you're 23 and you go, World War II, and they're like, "What?"
Literally World War II because it was before I was born.
What? No, I have no concept of that. It was before my time. Your knowledge just starts in like 1997. It's like, the film GoldenEye. What? I've James Bond. Oh no, that was in the 60s. So I have no concept of that idea. That notion means nothing to me.
It means nothing to me. But despite that, I just don't remember it ever being repeated. And plus, it was on ITV, and they were always like, "That's a naughty channel, isn't it?" It's like,
your BBC household,
CBBC for
giving away your middle class roots.
Yeah. What was Tots TV on? Is that ITV?
CITV.
Yeah, no, I did watch it. Reboot was on ITV. Don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think secretly was your knew
what I was doing.
I know what I was doing.
So if you didn't know, Fraggle Rock is a children's musical fantasy comedy puppet television series about various Muppet creatures created by Jim Henson.
So it's part of the Muppetverse.
Yes.
The Muppetverse of Madness.
And I won't go into it because it was far too complicated, but they have popped up here and there in various Muppet films and spin-offs.
Right,
and
okay.
So mainly cameos, but they do...
So it's not just... weirdly, I think this is the second time I've used the word adjacent.
Yeah.
It's not just like Muppet adjacent. It is part of the same universe.
I don't know, really. But they...
Because like...
There were times in a Muppet Christmas Carol, for instance, where they reused some of the... like in Muppet Christmas Carol, all the Muppets appeared as different characters, obviously. You could see a few Fraggles within it, which I didn't know about until I researched it.
But like Labyrinth is Jim Henson, but I don't think Labyrinth takes place in like the Muppetverse. Do you know what I mean?
think you could argue Fraggle Rock does because it's in the real world.
Yeah.
I
can't imagine like Kermit and Miss Piggy rocking up in Labyrinth.
No.
Whereas...
Although that would be amazing.
That would be great.
But what was fascinating about Fraggle Rock is that it was an international co-production of Canada, the UK and the US, and co-produced by the British company Television South, or TVS, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, and HBO in the States, along with Henson Associates.
I love that this is an HBO production. Like, and then it's not The Sopranos.
No.
It's not The Wire.
No boobs here.
It's Fraggle Rock. We're the only two boobs here.
But very unique because, unlike The Muppet Show or Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock was intended from the start to be this international production, right? So the entire show was created with this in mind. So you had at least 4 different versions of the human wraparound segments, right? So they'd be produced separately in their own independent countries.
Right.
So each version, you had the exact same puppet bits. So the Fraggles in their world, those were all the same.
Didn't even know they were called the Fraggles. That explains why it's called Fraggle Rock.
Yeah. Some of them are Fraggles.
You haven't just made that up. No. They are called the Fraggles.
Yeah. So those bits were all the same in all different shows. But when it cut to these human bits...
The bookends.
The UK would have their own version.
Wow.
The US would have their own version.
Yeah.
And I just find that... Can you think of any other show that did that? That sort of thing? I don't know. I don't think of any other... I mean, I know there's been international versions, but normally they just either remake it entirely or dub it or whatever.
There was a show on Netflix called Ultimate Beastmaster, which I wanted to watch purely for the name. But it was also created, in inverted commas, by Sylvester Stallone.
Wow.
And so the opening is him.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Stood in front of this huge assault course, and he's like, I'm going to find out who is the Ultimate Beastmaster. And I was like, it's called Ultimate Beastmaster. It's going to be incredible. And they had to take on this assault course called The Beast.
Yeah.
It was basically like a Ninja Warrior style show. Reason I bring it up is because it did have, on all the different international versions of Netflix, they all had their own versions of the show with different hosts.
Surely you want Stallone, don't you?
Stallone literally, he turned up on day one, said...
Oh, but he's in all of them.
No.
Oh.
He is in the opening of all of them.
Yeah, but
he just rocks up and goes, it's Ultimate Beastmaster.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the US hosts, who, like for the first season, it was Terry Crews. And then all the different countries have their own versions with their own hosts because it's an international competition. It's a global competition. And then later on, they even had like a UK, I think in season 3, there was a UK Ultimate Beastmaster. So that's the closest thing I can think of to... So can you... presumably this has been released on like DVD and Blu-ray now. Can you... Maybe not. Look at that face.
I know.
Can you... Because I was going to say, can you get like the UK version? Oh, you're going to get onto it. You're going to get onto it.
I'm going to get onto it, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's play what I think is probably the thing it's best known for, is its brilliant theme tune, which... Do you know it? No?
Well, maybe, but
it's one that I knew once I heard it.
Maybe
so you probably feel the same. So here we go.
It's like Shaft.
It is very much like Shaft.
Funky.
Dance your cares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down in Fraggle Rock. Work your cares away. Dancing's for another.
That's the Doozers I'm talking about.
We're Gobo and
Hey, look, Ma! I got a Fraggle!
Dance cares away. Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down in Fraggle Rock. Down in Fraggle Rock.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
I love how it ends.
Great.
They did do different versions with a different person, different Fraggle saying the end bit.
Right.
But that was the one that was stuck most because it's brilliant. It's like, down Fraggle Rock.
It's the way he's like, down in Fraggle Rock.
But catchy, innit?
Yeah.
So, Fraggle Rock debuted in 1983. Which is a lot earlier than I thought it was. For some reason, I thought it was more of a 90s thing, but it wasn't at all. I don't know why I thought it was later than it was.
Maybe it was repeated in the 90s.
Maybe it wasn't. I just didn't see it. Maybe I just, and thus because I didn't see it, I had no legacy.
But famously, this is where we've landed, isn't it? That if I haven't seen it, so didn't happen.
My own personal legacy doesn't exist. But yeah, it was one of the first shows involving the collaboration of the Henson International Television, or HIT Entertainment, from 1989, the international arm of Jim Henson Productions. Filming took place on a Toronto soundstage and later Elstree Studios as well in London. Are you into your avant-garde poets?
You know I love a bit of avant-garde poetry. Why would you even ask?
Have you ever heard of the poet B.P. Nicol?
No.
And it's lowercase BP, and then Nicol is all in one word because that's how avant-garde he is.
That is very avant-garde.
I'm sure he's a massive deal.
That's very AG.
Circles. But he apparently worked as one of the show's writers before becoming what he is. So if you're into that, yeah, that's where he started. In the early days of development, the script was called The Fraggles Woozles, but then they realised they wanted a more suitable name. I don't know why Woozles wasn't suitable. What's wrong with that? Yeah.
So what it was called? It was called what?
The Woozles.
Oh, right.
Almost like the word.
It wasn't called Fraggles Woozles.
No,
it was called
Woozle.
like Woozle Rock.
Yeah.
Woozle Rock. Woozle. It's harder to say.
Maybe, yeah. Henson described the Fraggle Rock series as a high-energy, raucous musical romp. It's a lot of silliness. It's wonderful, and I love that about Jim Henson in general. I just feel like all he wanted to do was just entertain and have a good laugh.
Yeah,
that's just his mantra in life. Was just have a bloody good laugh. Let's just calm down.
Let's just have a laugh, Jeremy. A bloody good laugh.
So I love that about him. So the program proved accessible to audiences of all ages, and it used the fantasy creatures as an allegory to deal with serious issues such as prejudice, spirituality, personal identity, the environment, social conflict. It was much like Dinosaurs a decade later. They did very much the same thing.
Yeah. What episode was that?
That's episode 88 of Two Geeks Two Beers.
And that's also a seamless edit. We found that straight away. It definitely didn't take us about 5 minutes.
So the producers made the series with the intention of it airing in various forms internationally. So that concept grew out of Jim Henson's experience adapting Sesame Street to foreign markets. So he was like, this is too complicated. Might as well just make your own version of it so it's more accessible to your audience. So the human wraparound segments, as they were called, were produced separately in several countries so the viewer could always relate to the world of their program.
Now, you've said it's a musical. The wraparound doesn't involve rapping, does it?
No, sadly not.
Okay.
No. It probably does in the current version, but we'll get onto that.
Oh.
The series has appeared now in over 10 countries and languages.
All with their own wraparound.
I think only like 4 or 5 of them, and then some of them used their own. They used one of the versions, but then dubbed it. So that's what they did. So the original North American version, which was filmed in Toronto, features an inventor named Doc, played by Jerry Parks, and his Muppet dog Sprocket. Sprocket, I think, is pretty much the same dog in each of them. It's like a Muppet dog.
Right, the dog is the link. Crosses.
Technically, it's a different parallel universe Sprocket, but he looks the same.
But Sprocket's like British.
You know, like in the Marvel films.
Yeah.
You've got the same people appear the same in different parallel universes. It's like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Sprocket is very much the Doctor Strange of the of the Muppet universe.
The Muppetverse of Madness.
Yeah.
But he's a British. It's like a British version.
Yeah.
So he's like bark. And this one he's like North American. He's like
trying to do an American bark.
Rough.
Very good.
Rough.
Good.
Yeah.
So the American wraparound version was also used in Australia, New Zealand, Netherlands, Republic of Ireland, Scandinavia, Spain, Japan, and Eastern Europe. Dutch, Scandinavian, Spanish, Japanese, and Eastern European shows were dubbed in there. So that's what they did. Parks, just so you know, he was born in Dublin. And if you're a fan of the Boondock Saints, he was the bartender in that.
Wow. So, that is a crossover.
Yeah. What a link that is. He died in 2014, aged 90.
Oh.
The British inserts were first filmed at the TVS Television Centre in Gillingham. Was it Gillingham? Gillingham. I apologise either way around. Because there are 2.
Oh, really?
Very confusing.
Right.
And later at their larger studio complex in Maidstone, and presents Fraggle Rock as a rock-filled sea island with a lighthouse.
Oh, so there's like different continuities.
Yeah, so in America, it's more of a kind of an office, I think.
An office?
Yeah. Whereas in the UK, a lighthouse. Yeah. Exterior footage was filmed at St Anthony's Lighthouse in Falmouth in Cornwall.
Oh, that's the second time Cornwall's come up in...
So I think you can still visit it if you want to go down there. It's still there. The lighthouse keeper is the captain, played by Fulton Mackay, or Mackay.
Yeah.
He's a retired sailor who lives with his faithful dog, Sprocket. Best known, of course, for playing Mr. Mackay in Porridge.
Yeah.
There you go. I didn't know that was his name as well.
Oh, I love that we still don't know whether it's...
Mackay or Mackay.
Stu, if you're listening, we still don't know if it's Mackay or Mackay.
Yes.
So it's not just you. Fulton's getting it.
Are you related to Fulton?
Yeah, everyone, all the Mackays are related. Yeah.
In the 3rd season, as Mackay had sadly died in 1987, the role was played by my hero, John Gordon Sinclair.
Wow.
Gregory's Girl fame.
Yeah.
He plays PK, the captain's nephew. So he replaced him.
Nice.
But he only did it for one series. And then the 4th and final series was replaced by Simon O'Brien as BJ, the captain's son.
BJ.
That's the name they went with.
And that's in the British version as well.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
It's like Captain Pugwash, isn't it?
Yeah.
Roger the Cabin Boy.
And Seaman Staines.
Yeah.
It makes more sense for it to be on a lighthouse if it's called Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
Unless the Americans are thinking like 30 Rock.
Yeah.
And the Rock. What's that building? It's called the Rock, isn't it? So maybe they're thinking along those lines.
Might well be, yeah.
The Rock in New York.
Well, in 2014, 35 of these British wraparounds were still missing, believed wiped. And then in December 2020, all 96 wraparounds had been found.
Yes.
And handed over to, I read that as the FBI. It's the BFI.
Well, the FBI is like, got to track down those British wraparounds featuring Fulton Mackay.
Confirming that the entire UK production still exists in some shape or form, but I don't think they've released them yet. The BFI have them, but I don't think they've done anything with them yet.
Right, it's in the archive.
Because if you look on YouTube, there's barely any clips of the UK version, which is such a shame. But you think in the 80s, you wouldn't think they were wiping stuff at that point, would you? You think they were keeping stuff at that point. So I know stuff was wiped in the 60s.
Because they didn't have that VH. Well, I think the thing about the wiping was that they were like, well, we don't repeat stuff. That's not a thing yet. And when there's no such thing as like home media. Yeah. So why would we keep anything?
I know.
But
in the 80s, I thought they'd been doing that by then.
Yeah, but I'm presuming they were just like, well, we're obviously not going to release specifically the British wraparounds.
Yeah, it's probably a complicated process because it was such a co-production. Maybe just didn't know what they were doing. But thankfully, some nerd somewhere recorded them, I think, and we've got them all somewhere. So I assume at some point the ITV, at some point ITV are going to release them again, I would have thought. Nickelodeon did repeat it in the UK in 93.
Right, that's literally then in your notes.
Not the UK version, it was the American version.
Still, they repeated Fraggle Rock. You knew that. You'd written that down.
In Nickelodeon, though.
Right.
So I didn't see it. I didn't have Nickelodeon.
Oh, so you...
Ergo, no legacy.
So you start the episode by saying this categorically did not happen anywhere, and now you've literally just gone, no, it did. I didn't say it did. I just didn't see it, so therefore it didn't happen. What is? Do you think when you leave a room it doesn't exist anymore? Is this your?
If you just put your hand over your face,
yeah, viewpoint, yeah. Peekaboo really shaped you as a child.
So yeah, apparently they only showed the Canadian/American versions. Didn't show. Yeah, in the German version, the action takes place beneath the workshop of the inventor Doc. The series was named Die Fraggles, with 85 of the 96 produced episodes being presented in German. Don't know what the other 11 were. Did they just give up and do the American ones?
No one's watching.
No one cares. In France, they took place in a bakery with its version of Doc, played by Michael Robin.
Of course they did. Le Fraggles?
Who worked as a baker, and a French sprocket called Croquette. He just like, we don't want to call it a sprocket.
Croquette. Yeah. I love this. It's just like every single cliche you can think of. Brilliant.
Yeah. So there are 4 main intelligent and anthropomorphic species.
Well done.
In the Fraggle Rock environment. So you've got Fraggles, Doozers, Gorgs, and silly creatures.
They just gave up on that last one.
So the Fraggles and Doozers live in a system of natural caves called Fraggle Rock that are filled with various creatures and connect to at least 2 different areas. They connect to the land of the Gorgs, which we'll get onto, and outer space, inverted commas, where the silly creatures live. The silly creatures are, in fact,
us
humans.
Yeah,
that's where we live. So one of them,
outside the office building / lighthouse / bakery / patisserie.
One of the main themes of the series is that although the 3 species depend on the other for their survival, they usually fail to communicate due to the vast differences in their biology and culture.
Wow, that's deep.
It is deep. So the series mainly follows the adventures of 5 Fraggles, each with their own personality. You have the pragmatic Gobo, artistic Moki, indecisive Wembley, which is a weird name.
Pragmatic Gobo just sounds like an insult. You pragmatic Gobo.
Superstitious Boober.
That does too. You superstitious Boober.
And the adventurous Red. I think they've run out of interesting names at that point. Some of the characters' names are actually film industry in-jokes. For example, there's a character called the Uncle Travelling Matt, which is a reference to the travelling mat technique used with blue screen. Gobo is named after a shaped metal grill that's placed over a theatre light to produce shadows. And Red is a reference to a red head, another name for an 800-watt film light.
It's a light.
Well
I knew that one. Yeah. Who's that for?
I know.
Who's picking up on that?
I know. Yeah. Just those film geeks out there. Well, you knew it.
I did know it. Yeah. That's for me.
So Fraggles are small creatures, typically around 22 inches tall, that come in a variety of colours. They live...
So you're roughly about Fraggle size then?
Very good.
very
droll, sir. Very good.
Well done.
They live a generally carefree life, spending most of their time. They only have a 30-minute work week.
I thought they were going to say lifespan.
No, they only work for half an hour a week.
Got real dark, real fast. That's where we're heading. Yeah. We're already down to the 4-day week.
And they generally just play about, explore, just generally enjoy themselves, have a great time.
Having a great life.
They live on mainly radishes.
Oh, suddenly life doesn't sound so great.
And doozer sticks made of ground up radishes and the material with which the doozers build their constructions.
So they eat radishes and doozer sticks, which are made of radishes.
The Fraggles seek wisdom from Marjorie the trash heap, which is located in the corner of the Gorg's garden. According to her rat-like companions, Philo and Gunge, the trash heap knows all and sees all. Do you want to see what the Fraggles look like?
I would love to.
Here you go.
There they are.
Recognise them at all?
Yeah. So these are the kind of images I've seen, and that middle guy is the guy at the end who went, Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, the big googly eyes.
Yeah.
Multicolored hair.
Yeah.
And the guy that does I can't remember which one's which. It's just dreadful research, but you can't see his eyes because they're covered by he's gone for a different look. He's gone for
he's a bit of an emo Fraggle.
And a hat.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the Fraggles for you there. So Doozers, they are small humanoid creatures, pudgy green and industrious. They stand at about 6 inches tall, so very, very small. About knee high to a Fraggle. They are the opposite of Fraggles. Their lives are dedicated to working in industry. So they spend much of their time busily constructing or scaffolding throughout Fraggle Rock, using miniature construction equipment and wearing hard hats and work boots.
Is scaffolding a verb? Like they
scaffold.
They scaffold. Yeah, like they are building or scaffolding. Never know.
They build their constructions out of an edible candy-like substance manufactured from radishes, which is greatly enjoyed by the Fraggles. This is essentially the only interaction between Doozers and Fraggles. Doozers spend most of their time building just for the sake of it, and then Fraggles spend much of their time eating the buildings which they consider delicious.
Because they're made of delicious radishes.
So the Doozers say in an early episode that architecture... The Doozers say in an early episode that architecture is meant to be enjoyed, and Moki prevents the other Fraggles from eating the building work, believing it to be insensitive to the Doozers. Stop eating their buildings. But as a result, the Doozer building eventually takes over Fraggle Rock, and once the Doozers plan on moving out, as they have nowhere left to build, they explain that they want the Fraggles to eat their work to create space for more building to go up again. So despite this codependence, the Doozers generally maintain a low opinion of the Fraggles, considering them frivolous. They're just annoying. They also seem to have little knowledge of their universe outside Fraggle Rock. They are unaware of the existence of the Gorgs even, or their garden. However, there was also one time when Doc found in his workshop an ancient-looking Doozer helmet, indicating that the Doozers may have explored outside Fraggle Rock into outer space at some time in their forgotten past.
Backstory.
Yeah, I love the idea that
intriguing.
One Doozer made it out and died, I assume, and they just found an old helmet.
You have like a Fraggle Rock prequel.
Why not? Like
you these days telling a story, yeah.
Anyway, here's what a Doozer looks like. See him?
Great. Yeah.
How do you describe those little fellas?
So they're like these little pudgy green fellas, and they've got like workman's hats, helmets on, and
they look like something out of Trumpton.
Yeah. And one of them's got like a little mustache, which is what immediately made me laugh. That one of them's got a little tash. Like little workman.
I just want to know how they came to live in the same bit as the Fraggles.
They look a bit like jelly babies.
Yeah. And then you got the Gorgs. So outside another exit from Fraggle Rock are the small family of Gorgs. They're these fat, furry humanoids. They're massive.
Right.
They're the husband and wife of the family, Pa and Ma, consider themselves the king and queen of the universe, with their son Junior Gorg as its prince and heir apparent. But they are simple farmers with a rustic house and garden patch. Pa says he's been ruling there for 742 years. Fraggles are considered pests by the Gorgs, as they often steal radishes from their garden.
Why is this so radish-centric?
Maybe it was like one of those campaigns to get kids to eat vegetables and stuff.
But why the radish?
I know.
Terrible vegetable.
The Gorgs use the radishes to make anti-vanishing cream, without which they disappear head first. So I think they disappear without using the radishes to...
So the Gorgs are naturally invisible.
Apparently.
But they use...
The radishes... Radishes are magical.
Yeah, who knew radishes
they can build things
had so many...
Yeah. Keep the Fraggles alive.
Yeah, you can eat them, you can build buildings with them, and you can apparently make a cream that makes invisible things visible.
Here's what the Gorgs look like.
Right.
Yeah, just big... What are the big Muppets called? There's that big, like...
Who's that goes like, ooh?
Oh, Sweetums.
Sweetums.
There's a Sweetums. He looks a bit like Sweetums in the Muppets, you know. Anyway, and then you've got silly creatures of outer space. So Gobo must go out into Doc's workshop to retrieve the postcards from his Uncle Matt from the wastebasket where Doc throws them. So travelling Uncle Matt, whatever his name is, goes off on his travels into the real world.
Yeah.
And he leaves behind postcards, but then Doc sees it, the human Doc, and goes, "What the fuck's this?" and throws it in the wastebasket. Then Gobo goes out to retrieve the postcard,
right,
to take back to his Fraggle mates
from the office building.
Yeah, because Doc just thinks they're being misdelivered.
Boulangerie.
Travelling Matt is exploring the wider world, observing humans and reporting humorously false conclusions about their everyday behaviour. Sprocket often sees and chases Gobo, but can't convince Doc that anything lives beyond the wall. So there's like a hole in the wall, essentially, with a filing cabinet in the way in the American version. So Sprocket and Doc have many similar miscommunications throughout the series, given the language barrier. He's a dog.
Oh, I was going to say, yes. I'm not surprised they're having a miscommunication.
So Sprocket knows there's Fraggles, but he can't. He can't tell Doc.
He's either going woof woof or like bark bark,
Yeah.
and either way, he doesn't understand him.
So here's a clip from the very first episode of Fraggle Rock. So that's Uncle Travelling Matt. He's made his way into Doc's workshop.
Thank goodness outer space seems to be uninhabited. Oh!
Let me see now. Well, I can put the workbench here and this drawing table over there. Come on in, Sprocket.
Excellent.
Tell me, Sprocket, how do you really like it here? Yes, of course I do.
He's right there. How's Doc not seen him?
He's hiding behind like some boxes.
The first creature I encountered in outer space was four-legged and furry. It had great sharp teeth and a fearsome breath.
Run, Uncle Matt, run!
Oh, yes, of course.
He did it. Uncle Matt did it. He survived the fearsome beast. Wait a minute. I'm going to have to do that every few days.
So yeah. Bit irresponsible of Uncle Travelling Matt, if you ask me, but fine. Do you want to see the UK version, though?
I'm really curious about this. Yeah.
Here we go.
Establishing a shot of the lighthouse.
Yeah. So then that's where the theme tune occurs. It's exactly the same.
Dog looks a bit different.
Terrific stuff. There you are, you see. You can't beat the Navy for a rousing good march. Oh, Sprocket, you're no help at all. Yes, well, we have to do the washing somewhere. The last time I hung it outside, the Coast Guard helicopter thought it was an SOS.
I said I'd help.
Then it just cuts to the... to the
I don't know why they were like, that guy,
yeah.
UK audiences will not accept him. We need Fulton Mackay in a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Like,
but what I don't understand, what I can't find, because it's not written anywhere, is how the UK version starts and how the UK version ends. We'll get on to the ending in a minute,
right.
But it's just, is it the same plot?
Why are you asking me? I don't know. I know even less about
no
this
one
than you
recorded
do.
it, so we don't know what happened.
No one saw it, so it didn't happen.
And here's just a little burst of John Gordon Sinclair when he appeared. There's only a couple of clips on YouTube, but there is one.
Dog's doing like gymnastics.
Sprocky's recovered, I see. One I can say for me. Now it's your turn to laugh, eh? Aye, well, just keep your distance. For me? Oh, thank you, Sprocky. I don't know what to say.
Sprocky.
I don't. I find it quite moving. I do. After the way I behaved, it's not very nice to make fun of someone just because they're not feeling very well. I treasure this. I will. I really will, Sprocky. You know, I think I could get to quite like dogs.
Oh, I love a little bonding moment there between John Gordon Sinclair and Sprocky.
Yeah, Sprocky. And so in the final episode arc of the original North American version, Doc himself finally meets Gobo and befriends him. Gobo tells Doc that Fraggles refer to humans as silly creatures and apologizes. Doc tells him that he thinks it's a very good name for humans because, yeah, fair enough.
Fair cop.
Unfortunately, in the final episode, Doc and Sprocket have to move to another state. The Fraggles may have discovered a way that they can still communicate, which is nice. But this is what I mean. So this is a lovely end to the show.
Yeah.
But did the UK version have their own way? Because finally, Gobo goes into and hangs out with Doc.
Yeah.
did that happen in the UK one as well? Did he go? Because I assume Gobo the puppet's stuck in America somewhere. Do you have to make a second Gobo puppet and bring it over? There's 2 Sprockets. Well, there's 4 Sprockets.
Yeah, well, this is my thing. Presumably, yeah, that he must have.
Crockett.
They must, Crockett.
Yeah.
They must have. Oh, is it sort of?
Maybe it's Crockett.
Sprocket and Crockett makes more sense, doesn't it?
Sprocket and Crockett.
A loaded gun concert. What is the lyric? A loaded gun complex, Sprocket and Crockett. Yeah. That's actually what it was referencing.
But anyway, here's the finale. It's quite a moving finale.
To the US version.
Fraggle Rock, of the US version.
What happens in the boulangerie? I must know.
Hello, I am Doc. That is, my name is Jerome Crystal, but all my friends call me Doc.
Doc, my name's Gobo.
Fraggle, I've seen your postcard. This is amazing.
Oh, you think it's amazing? I'm talking to a silly creature.
Silly creature?
Oh, well, see, that's what we call all of you. But don't take it badly, eh? Fraggles really like silliness.
Don't apologize. I think it's a very good name for us. Quite right, Sprocket. Gobo, this is my dog, Sprocket.
Sprocket. Okay. I've always wanted to know your name.
It's very much the Sleepless in Seattle of the Muppet universe, where they finally meet after all this time.
Why did it take this long for them to meet? Why didn't they meet? I don't really What was the jeopardy?
And if we cut towards the end...
Idiot. Okay.
They found a recording of a dog that they've left behind.
Dog Sprocket.
Hello?
If you're not the Fraggle, you don't have to listen to the rest of this. You know who's going to find this.
It's more like Brief Encounter, where they meet briefly and then they're torn apart. Tragically.
Right. Anyway, if you are the Fraggle, Gobo Fraggle, this is for you. It is a tape recording. I know you might not understand that. It's a way of saving my voice so you can hear me after I've gone. Sprocket and I, want to say goodbye. We're going to the desert for a long time. We have to help a friend, Ned Schimmelfinney.
I'm sure there's a reason for it.
I have to go to the desert.
I'm sorry if I scared you away earlier. I wanted you to come with us because I wanted to be friends, but I suppose you have to be in Fraggle Rock just as we have to be with Ned. It's time to go now, so...
Really sad.
Very sad.
Oh, and if you're Mizard, that pay no attention to all this.
That can't be how it ends.
Doc, you weren't supposed to leave the magic.
Jesus, I have no emotional attachment to this whatsoever, and
I know, it's really
tearing up.
This is the right key.
This is Doc moving into his new place with Sprocket.
In the desert.
Yeah, apparently.
There's that light switch. Electricity may not be on yet. Well, here it is, Sprocky. Our new home.
He called him Sprocky as well.
Yeah. I love the amount of effort that's gone into this. I love that a show like this has like a proper payoff. Series finale. Far better than some like long-running drama series.
Better than Game of Thrones.
Beautiful. You know, this is pretty good. There's a lot more room than the old place and more light. And when we get the junk moved in, it'll be just like home. Well, I know. Except for the Fraggle.
I mean, Barry, you only just
literally
met him. Literally just met him.
Do you remember the first day we moved into the old workshop? There was a box sitting against the wall, just like that one.
That's where he was hiding.
Box to throw it away.
Uncle Travelling Man.
It was very similar in the original workshop. Yeah.
Little throwback to the first episode.
Very good.
Clever. Oh, he expects them to appear. They don't appear. I have to say, Sprocky, what a great Muppet that is.
It?
Really
it's just
good.
like a dog.
Yeah.
But it's silly.
Didn't need to go to hit this hard.
I know.
So there's no hole in the wall.
No.
Oh, look, Sprocky looked really sad. It was really good puppetry.
His eyebrows moved.
Genuinely really good puppetry. Oh, he's like crying a little bit. Ah, not a sad dog.
That's really sad.
This is awful.
So now, I don't think I'll feel like coming up here much anymore.
We haven't felt this sad since Animals a Farthing Wood.
God. He's gutted.
Well, thanks for coming with me anyway, guys.
It's Fraggle Bros.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't alone when I found that message.
Oh, Gobo, we'd never leave you alone. Maybe the silly creature has left, but we never would.
We couldn't leave you. Wait a minute. Lindy just said you couldn't leave me. What was it the trash heap said I should say to the silly creature?
That he mustn't leave.
No, not mustn't. Cannot.
Yes, that you cannot leave the magic.
And then she said we were magic.
Yes.
He can't leave us, and we can't leave him. Maybe I'm not too late after all.
Hey, I never saw that tunnel before.
Yeah, there's a lot of songs, by the way. This isn't just a random occurrence. There are songs in Fraggle Rock.
Do you think this tunnel is magic, Gobo?
I'm beginning to think everything's magic, if you see it that way.
Great message for kids.
Feel how they flow, the magic lives in the moments you're leaving.
When I researched this episode, this song was in my head for about 5 days afterwards.
Thanks for inflicting that on me.
You know, Sprocket, reading that Fraggle made me feel different. If little furry creatures could live behind the walls, why, that's magical.
I mean, you want to move to London, mate? You've got plenty of little creatures living behind our walls.
Anything is possible. Think of it. Maybe you're magic. Maybe I'm magic. Maybe Ned and Fluffinella are magic. Maybe the whole world. And then Sprocket. If we wanted there to be a Fraggle hole behind that.
Fraggle hole?
Fraggle hole.
Well, who knows?
Yes. The boys back together.
I have a message for you. From the trash heap.
The trash heap?
Oh, she's our oracle. Knower of all our wisdom. She said, I should tell you, you cannot leave the magic.
Oh, thank you, Gobo. As a matter of fact, Sprocket and I just discovered that.
Hey.
Wow.
I mean, as you say, the effort involved. I know it was a long clip, but I feel like we had to appreciate that for what it was.
To be immersed in that. Like, genuinely, that's one of the best endings to a show.
Really
my favourite endings, I always think with feel-good shows, like sitcoms, why would you do an ending where, it's a downbeat ending, like, the friends will never see each other again.
Yeah.
Cheers has closed down. It's like, what? Why? No, just, it's great and it'll go on forever. You're not seeing it anymore, but it just goes on forever and everyone has a lovely time, and that's what that is.
Cold feet, let's just kill off one of the main characters for no reason.
Why? No, just everyone has a lovely time forever.
No.
That's all I want.
So, as you heard there was a lovely bit of music in there.
Magic.
Music played a very central part in Fraggle Rock. Every episode featured 2 or 3 original songs co-written by Canadian poet Dennis Lee and Philip Balsam, as well as incidental music. Lee was also a co-writer for Labyrinth as well.
So that's a lot of songs, because that's like 5 seasons.
Exactly. There was like an album released at one point, and during the show's original run, a re-recorded extended version of its opening theme was released as a single, and it reached number 33 in the British chart in March 1984.
It's his own genre, Fraggle Rock.
Should have done a bigger hit than that, though. Like, come on, make it up. Yeah, but I love it when back in the day they did actually release theme tunes. Yeah. Even ones that didn't actually exist as a full song. They were like, right, let's make a full song and release it. Very good.
Very good.
Very good. So there's a few spin-offs. You had Fraggle Rock, the animated series, because they always had to be back then. NBC aired it on Saturday mornings in America at 10 a.m. For one season only in 1987. The most noticeable difference is that, unlike the live-action version, the animated version of Doc is only shown from the neck down, so very much like Nanny on Muppet Babies.
Yes, Nanny, or like Tom and not Jerry's owner. Jerry's his own man.
Yeah,
but Tom's owner. Yeah,
Thomas.
Yeah.
There's a little clip from the animated version. Same theme tune.
Well,
You'd bring it back though, wouldn't you?
We haven't had a really good doesn't translate to audio for a while, but without the visuals, it's exactly the same.
But it's just a cartoon version.
Rest assured, it is animated. And not like
very, very good animation as well. Very good animation.
Yeah.
Because Fraggle Rock could always have existed just as an animated series.
Well, this does make me think. It's literally almost shot. It's the same. It's shot for shot of the live action title sequence.
But anyway, get the idea. Only one season. And then in 2012, the Jim Henson Company announced a computer animated spin-off to Fraggle Rock called The Doozers, targeted at children between ages 4 and 7.
Okay.
This is very much the Rocketeer. Remember my annoyance that it existed.
Yeah.
Apparently in the same universe and everything.
Yeah.
It focuses on 4 young Doozers named Spike, Mollybolt, Flex, and Daisy Wheel, who live at Doozer Creek. It originally premiered in Australia on Nick Jr. in 2013 and aired on Hulu in America a year later. Here's a little clip of the Doozers, which I'd never heard of existing, but here we go.
Okay, Pod Squad, here's a different kind of magnet. This is called an electromagnet. You can turn the power up or down to change how powerful you want it to be. With this switch, you can dial down the power to make it weak, or dial it up and make it very strong.
I mean, it said it was a trailer. Didn't really feel like a trailer. It's just a clip. But you know.
It looks fine.
Good animation.
But where's me puppets?
Who's it for?
I want my puppets, and they're not as pudgy.
And also, they're not as cute.
Nah, I like them. Yeah. I like the pudgy Doozers, and these are more. They look like they've
You can't have the Doozers on their own either.
A few gym sessions. Well, I mean, why would they be so pudgy, given how much labour they are doing? If you think about it, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense, but.
And then in September 2005, the Jim Henson Company announced it was working on a film adaptation of Fraggle Rock, known as Fraggle Rock, the movie. I wonder how they came up with that. It was aimed to be released in 2009, and it was going to bring back all the original Fraggle characters.
Was this a reboot or a follow-up?
I think it was just a follow-up. In 2006, they announced it was going to be like a full-length live-action musical fantasy. And then in 2008, the Weinstein Company announced it would distribute it. The film was written as a live-action musical by Corey Edwards, who would also direct. It would involve all the core characters from the series. It would take the characters outside of their home in Fraggle Rock, where they interact with humans, which they think are aliens. So maybe it was a bit of a reboot by the sounds of it. And it would have the original voice cast was going to come back as well. In 2011, still hadn't been made. Weinstein's deal with Henson had expired, and leaving the film in doubt. The Scissor Sisters were announced to write music for the film.
Who else? I mean,
it just dates it a little bit, but they'd be all right. They'd be good. They're doing that. They weren't sure if it was going to be maybe a mix of puppets and CGI, which make it make it puppets. Dark Crystal proved you can make it mostly puppets and still be amazing.
And
might cost a lot of money and no one watches it.
Yeah, and be prohibitively expensive and cancelled because no one watched it, but yeah.
And in 2015, it was reported that Joseph Gordon-Levitt would star and produce the film.
Of course. Well, yeah, okay.
Well, what's he doing now? He was like the biggest deal on the planet for a while. Now he's just sort of, is he around?
He still pops up every once in a while. Yeah.
Because he's good. And in 2018, he was still saying, yep, still working on it.
Yeah.
Still working on it. And then Walt Disney announced in late 2017.
The company rather.
Not actual Walt Disney.
Yeah.
That was when they announced that they'd acquired 21st Century Fox.
Yeah.
And
so everyone's like, right, so you finally got the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Die Hard.
And Fraggle Rock.
And that meant that obviously Disney owns all rights, but since then, the feature film project was finally cancelled in favour of a new TV series instead.
Oh, okay. So there's a new TV series.
Which has already happened. And so, I had absolutely no idea about.
Are there angry YouTube videos about how Disney has ruined Fraggle Rock?
Probably. So firstly, we had Fraggle Rock Rock On, which was a series of weekly live action shorts.
Fraggle Rock Rock On.
Which was on Apple TV Plus in April 2020. So it followed Fraggles living in separate caves due to a period of social distancing.
Nice.
Interacting with each other using a video chat system that was installed by the Doozers. Footage for the series is shot using smartphones.
Right. What?
Yeah.
So was the video communication system built with radishes?
Yeah. The Doozers are amazing.
Well, radishes are amazing.
So 6 episodes were made. The original cast members came back, the voice cast. I think it was a lot of... It was a weird time, 2020.
It was a weird time.
Just weird stuff just happened and people just they were so bored and they wanted to entertain people.
We're like,
made any old shit.
We're going to reboot Fraggle Rock, but film it entirely on phones.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
But this led to, in 2021, the Jim Henson Company, they announced that production officially had started on a reboot of the show. So I think the Rock On series gave a new lease of life to the Fraggle Rock universe. So it was called Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock. It consists of full-length episodes, not just 10-minute shorts or whatever, released in January 2022. So it's already happened.
Oh.
Yeah, already happened.
Look, I know we joke about things, that we weren't aware of, and so it didn't happen. This, how did?
And you work in TV, like
it's literally my job to know this stuff.
In the house belonging to a woman named Doc, so it's now a female Doc, and her pet dog Sprocket. Sprocket is back.
Not the same Sprocket.
I think it is. It is.
How does that?
Well, it's a different dog, but it looks the same.
But it can't be. Yeah, but like,
maybe it's like grandson of Sprocket.
Sprocket the third.
Yeah. The third. So there is a hole in their house which leads to Fraggle Rock. Gobo, Moki, Wembley, Booba, and Red. It's all the same. Much the same. So not a sequel. It's very much a reboot.
Oh, reboot.
A new thing.
Oh, okay. So it can be Sprocket. Fine.
So make of that what you will. I always like things to be a continuation, but never mind. So it's a brand new thing.
A legacy sequel. That's
as far as I can tell, I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But from what I can tell from all the documentation, I'm not going to sit down and watch it, am I?
I was going to say I might be wrong. I haven't watched it, but
from the sounds of it, it's a reboot rather than a sequel.
Right.
Lily Cooper plays the female Doc, and along with the return of characters from the original series, the new show features new characters voiced by celebrity guests, including Patti LaBelle, Ed Helms, Kenan Thompson, and then the Foo Fighters appear as themselves in one episode.
Like puppet versions? Or
no, just the Foo Fighters.
Actually them.
Playing music.
Wow, okay.
Because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, here's a little taste of what it currently looks like.
I wasn't expecting you to start off with Patti LaBelle.
Gobo, I want to show you something. Behold!
Kind of looks like a hole, but I'm going to assume it's more than that based on the way you set it up.
To your Belubiuses, because I know exactly where we should go.
Tell us in song.
I thought you'd never ask.
Okay, it's a party down in Fraggle Rock today.
So it all looks pretty good.
I was going to say it looks great.
It's proper puppets. They all look the same.
Yeah.
Obviously better graphics than the 80s.
New production values. Yeah.
It's a party down in Fraggle Rock today.
Doozers look better than they did in the...
Pudgy Doozers?
Yeah.
I did it! I caught a...
Gorgs are back.
Doesn't it make you wonder what else is out there? What else is connected?
Okay, it's a party down in Fraggle Rock today. Let's party down today. Okay, it's a party down in Fraggle Rock today.
So it looks great.
Looks great.
But I don't see the point of it when it's a complete remake and it looks the same but updated. I don't get it. Who's it for? Because the original fans, I think you'd be like, yeah, but I want to watch.
I'll watch the original. Yeah.
Whereas, but maybe kids love it. Maybe it's gone down well. We'll see. But I'm glad it's there. Glad it's been made.
Glad it exists.
Yeah. So that is it for Fraggle Rock, a show that I wish I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of wholesome fun, moments of pathos. Glad new generations are seeing it in this form. But yeah, thoughts on Fraggle Rock?
Glad we did Fraggle Rock.
We did it.
We did it, Michael.
Yeah.
No, the thing that took me by surprise, blindsided me a little bit. I was thinking it would be more along the lines of like a Muppet show sort of scenario. Yeah, didn't expect it to have those moments of pathos and the depth of storytelling.
Yeah.
Took me by surprise. Yeah, no, great. Looks very entertaining. Love Sprocky. He's my new fave.
Yeah.
And fascinating about all the different international versions. I really want to know now, having seen the brilliant ending to the US version.
Did they do the same?
I want to know. I want to know what happened
BFI
at the lighthouse. I want to know what happened at the boulangerie.
Yeah, you got contacts at the BFI. You can find out.
Don't put this on me. No, because then everyone will be like, "What's going on with Fraggle?" No, I don't. I'm putting it out to the listener.
Yeah.
If anyone knows.
Yeah, because someone must have seen it.
Exactly.
You must remember what happened. So tell us, genuinely get in touch and let us know how it ended, because it's not out there by the looks of it.
Yeah. At Two Geeks Cast on social media, or a podcast at twogeeks2beers.com.
Yeah, please do. Please do get in touch. So you can hear all 100 plus episode of Two Geeks, including other 80s and 90s kids shows such as Animals of Farthingwood, Terrorhawks, Nightmare, Power Rangers and more, plus Jim Henson movies like Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal. We're also available wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Amazon, Google, and more. You can also follow us on socials at Two Geeks Cast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and now TikTok.
Yeah.
We've moved with the times. We're finally there.
We've caught up with the times.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
So we're going to pretend to know what we're doing with you, all you youths out there. So please follow us at Two Geeks Cast on TikTok. We actually had a bit of a viral hit on there.
We did. Wasn't actually a clip from any of our episodes.
We've done a few clips from the show, got nothing. And then I made this Tim Curry best performances compilation video. Took off. I had 150,000 views.
Yeah.
Loads of comments. So really appreciate that if you did check that out, and maybe that's how you've discovered us and you're listening to this now. If you have any other suggestions for other TikTok compilations or anything like that, let us know. We may make it. Yeah.
We're also starting to record our episodes not just on audio now, but on video as well. So you might start to see video clips of our recordings emerging very soon.
TikTok.
Possibly on the Tickety Talk. Meanwhile, you can also support us on Patreon. There's a few different tiers, but for a couple of quid, you can get exclusive Two Geeks content, including bonus clips, exclusive episodes recorded just for you, a beer mat, and even a Two Geeks t-shirt and mug. So head to patreon.com/2geekscast for all of that.
And as I say, do please get in touch. As I said, the email address is podcast@twogeeks2beers.com. We had one particularly lovely message that I thought I'd read out from Maya. Recently discovered your guys' podcast, and I love it. At first, I was trying to find a podcast that had commentary on the Animals of Farthingwood. You're in the right space. As we recently got into the book again, I found your episode on Spotify. Good. Glad we're on Spotify and it's working well. Decided to give it a listen. Very entertaining, and it was a cool seeing the differences between the book and the TV series, as I never actually watched it.
You're missing out.
I only listened to the audiobook. After that, I decided to listen to your episodes, The Sims and Poirot. All of your episodes are very humorous and enjoyable. I don't know a podcast quite like it. We'll take that as a good thing.
The first bit is definitely a compliment. The second bit, I'm not so sure.
That's what I wanted to say. Have a good one. So cheers for that, Maya. Very, very appreciated. And I thought I'd let you know. Now, I update all the tally and stuff of our listenership. And I know it's not like the biggest number on the planet, but we've finally hit 200,000 downloads overall. And again, we're not backed by a conglomerate. We're not backed by sponsors. We don't have. I know you're sort of famous, but we're not like a known mainstream person. But I think I'm chuffed for that.
Yeah.
We finally got there. So thanks very much to anyone who's ever listened, downloaded, streamed, followed, subscribed, whatever. Really appreciate it. And we'll keep on going.
I've got 6,000 Twitter followers. That's the level of fame that we're at here, people. 6,000. Wow.
So see you next time and rock on.
Dead scares away. Another day. So thinking about all the different ways the different international versions could have ended. The American show, obviously, Doc he was like, I really miss my Fraggle Bros. And he's like, I believe in magic.
Yeah.
And then they rock up and it's great and it's really happy. And I kind of feel like the French version wouldn't be the same. Like I just feel like the guy in the...
He wouldn't care.
No, the bakery, he'd just be like, like just really like...
Sacre bleu.
Yeah, he'd be really like...
What are you doing?
He'd be really like nonchalant about that. Is that French? Nonchalant?
Feels like it should be.
It must be.
Yeah.
Nonchalant. I didn't even realise that. Speaking French, didn't even know it. That's how sophisticated I am. I feel like he'd be really like, just like shrug, like smoking a cigarette, just like, and I'm not being, these are the cliches that they imposed upon.
It's their fault.
It's their fault. Because
it wouldn't be a cliche if it wasn't true.
But he's just like, I'm leaving. And he's like, what about our magic? He's like, I'm leaving with my...
I don't care.
I'm leaving with my croquette. Adieu. I don't feel like he'd have the same emotional investment.
Baguette and the onions round his neck.
And then he gets on his bike and he rides away.